up, you guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's get into some serious drama. Okay, so there was an article that was released on Twitter. It was just screenshots of an article that named Juan Dixon, who is Robin's soon-to-be husband or soon-to-be forever fiance or just her roommate. And it named Juan in a possibly covering up sexual assault. So that got the streets going, especially with the way Giselle's storyline is going with Candace and Chris. A lot of people got things to say. I kind of don't really want to cover this story, but I feel like as the season continues, this is going to be a topic of conversation online, as well as it's probably going to come up at the reunion. So to stay informed and to keep y'all informed, I said I might as well do this video, and we can either have a discussion about it or y'all just listen to what I got to say and that be that on that. So let's get into it. All right, you guys, so I'm going to post the link below to the article if you want to read it for yourself, but I'm going to read through the articles and then I guess give you my thoughts. So it was released by the Baltimore Brew. It was released on November the 7th, 2022. And the title states, former player sues Copen State over alleged sexual and blackmail by assistant coach. It goes on. Copen State assistant basketball coach catfished a player online into providing intimate photos and texts, then blackmailed him into videotaping a sexual encounter before publicizing the material when the player resisted further demands for sex. A lawsuit filed by Baltimore City Circuit Court alleges. The legal complaint says, by information and belief, Lucian Brownlee, a former guard who served as director of player development and director of basketball operations, harassed, tormented, and sexually aided the player Ivan Williams before publishing intimate material he had obtained from the student. Copen basketball player Juan Dixon, who is named in the complaint, allegedly failed to take action when informed by Brownlee's actions. A legendary figure in Baltimore beyond Dixon is a former University of Maryland standout and NBA player who Copen hired in the spring of 2017. Also named in the lawsuit filed last week is Copen State University, whose officials, rather than supporting the distraught Williams, allegedly questioned him and retaliated against him by withdrawing previously promised financial assistance. The way he was treated was apparent, said Williams' attorney Daniel Epstein of the New Jersey law firm of Epstein Overture in a phone interview. Epstein said they were able to build their case despite the anonymous blackmailer purporting to be a third party. Our strong belief is that Lucian himself was the catfisher, Epstein says. Even if Brownlee was just a fellow victim of an anonymous tormentor, the minute he became a coach, he had an obligation to report any sexual harassment, Epstein said. And Dixon, having prior knowledge of the issues with Brownlee, according to the complaint, should have never placed him in a position of authority over players, Epstein added. The coach should have known better than to put this person in a position of seniority. The Brew was not able to reach Brownlee. Dixon did not respond to the phone message and emails request comment about the matter, nor did the school's athletic director, Derek Carter. Copen State University spokeswoman Robin McClouney, y'all know I'm horrible with names, responded to an email by saying Copen State University does not comment on pending litigations. They got this man's picture in here too. So then the article continues saying the team's tight budget. Copen and HBCU in Maryland stated Maryland State University system is known as Morgan State's crosstown rival. Like many Division I NCAA programs, it operates on a shoestring budget, working its players hard. In the fall of 2021, or shortly after the events alleged in the lawsuit, Sports Illustrated featured the team in a story about its erroneous road schedule, which is called a sadistic slate of $80,000 guaranteed games. It is challenging for the team leaders. I don't know of many head coaches who are washing their players' dirty laundry every night, Dixon says in his piece, joking that his water bill back home spiked after game nights. Brownlee appears to no longer be working for the university. He's in the wind, Epstein said. As of the SI story, his scheduling job was being done by another person who is extensively quoted in the piece. Escalating demands. Williams says in a complaint that he received a message through social media in the fall of his freshman year from a woman who seemed interested in a romantic relationship. He was enticed into sending images of himself to this person of a sexual nature that he believed were private and in context of a developing romantic relationship, the lawsuit says. The online paramour then stated blackmailing Williams, threatening to publish the photos and text unless he provided more salacious material. The text continued through the 2018 to 2019 basketball season, while Williams, in fear of losing his place in the basketball program, his tuition and room and board payments, continued to respond to the person messaging him in a futile attempt to appease his tormentor. In the spring of 2019, Williams learned from Coach Brownlee, then a senior who would return the next year as a staff member, that Brownlee had also exchanged sexual content with plaintiff's tormentor. The blackmailer then ordered the two men to have sex with each other, according to the lawsuit. Williams refused at first, but when he returned to campus in the fall, the blackmailer demanded that Williams record and send a video of the plaintiff and Lucian Brownlee engaging in oral sex. According to the lawsuit, Williams complied. Father gets involved. In December of 2019, the blackmailer instructed Williams that Brownlee was going to coordinate a sexual encounter with him. According to the lawsuit, Williams resisted, hoping the non-response would end the blackmailer, prompting warnings that the blackmailer would wild out. Williams sent videos of himself, but the blackmailer insisted on one of himself having sex with Brownlee, sending repeated messages providing Coach Brownlee's availability. The back and forth continued through March of 2020, according to the suit. By information and belief, the blackmailer was Coach Brownlee, the complainant says. Unable to tell anyone what was happening, contemplating, the S word, Williams told his family he was uncomfortable with the rampant drug use on the team during his frequent away games. That prompted his father to arrange a meeting with the Copen officials, and the complaint says in which Dixon indicated that he was helpless to address the drug issues in any meaningful way and was adamant that the plaintiff should stay with the program. Past problems known to the school. When Williams returned to the campus in the fall of 2020, the blackmail and threats continued. This time, Williams didn't respond, and that's when the material used to blackmail the plaintiff was published and revealed to members of the team and staff in public, the lawsuit says. Epstein says the material appeared to be on Instagram and has since been taken down. Dixon directed Williams to come to the practice the next day, where the two met, and according to the complaint, Dixon admitted that Lucian Brownlee was mentally ill or otherwise emotionally imbalanced, and that his history was known to the coach and athletic director Carter and the school. But the complainant says the school was schools whose policy on sexual misconduct prohibits, RAPE, sodomy, quid pro quo, stalking, sexual exploitation, coercion, and retaliation, and took no action to remedy the situation. William asked for an investigation in which, according to the lawsuit, a lawyer from the university further traumatized him with questions about his sexual past and orientation. It's cringy, the questions that he was asked, Epstein says. Copen State then terminated Williams' housing and tuitions assistant. Epstein says he managed to complete the semester by working remotely, then transferred to another school to complete his degree. All right, so that was the article. If you would like to read it for yourself, again, the link will be posted below. But I have a few things to say, and like it says, my thoughts. So first off, I definitely hope that Mr. Williams gets justice, especially if everything that was alleged in the article in fact did happen to him. I do hope that he gets justice. I also hope that he enacts criminal charges against Brown Lee, the alleged abuser, if in fact he is the one that did cause all that trauma and harm to him, because that's not okay. What I do find really crazy is how the school handled it, but then again, schools be schooling and always messing up. And as someone that has relatives that work in higher education, and when crazy things come across my TV screen or online and I have questions, I always ask them. They always give me the tea. It does not make sense why the school would terminate his housing and his financial aid if in fact he opened up his Title IX, I think that's what it's called, case against Brown Lee. And because my family members always tell me, even if you don't believe what the person is saying to open up a Title IX case, you always protect the person that in fact asks for the investigation or enacts a Title IX. And it's weird to me that they did not protect him, because my relatives have always said the goal is to always make sure that the institution, i.e. the school, looks good. This does not make the school look good. And again, it's not just Copen State. It happens at all universities where somebody will be harmed and the department that is meant to take care of people or help those who have been harassed or assaulted, they do nothing or they make the trauma worse. And that's what it seems has happened to Mr. Williams dealing with Copen State. And that's sad and it's unfortunate. So I do hope that he wins if all of this stuff that's being alleged did happen to him, as well as I do hope that he enacts, again, criminal charges against Brown Lee, because if the alleged abuser, which is him, if he really did do all this stuff, he need to be in somebody's jail. And I don't like what I'm seeing where people are like, oh, he has a mental illness. And it's a lot of us out here who got mental illnesses, and no one's enacting violence against people. Just because you have a mental illness or a chemical imbalance, it does not mean it's okay for you to enact violence of any kind, whether it be sexual, physical, or emotional. You should have to answer for your actions. So I hope he go to jail if he really did do this to this young man. The other thing I have an issue with, or I didn't even have an issue with what I just said. Well, I did with the school. But the other thing that is bothering me is the way people are acting with this information. I'm seeing a lot of people acting like this is their Uno card out moment, or their draw 4 or draw 2 moment, trying to throw this in Robin's face oh, what you got to say now? Is Giselle gonna say something about this? And I'm like, this is not something you throw back in anybody's face, especially when they didn't do it, as well as throwing someone else's trauma in somebody's face is not the win or the moment you think it is. And I've been seeing a lot of people do that, especially on these blogs and on Twitter. And I don't like how the story is being shopped around, where it's trying to implicate Juan, when it's Juan didn't really do anything other than it seems that he dropped the ball in what his job was supposed to be, is protecting his students or his players. He was supposed to make sure they win games on the court, as well as graduate school and become successful adults while being protected by him, who is the head coach and the authority. And if it's true that this young man went to Juan and nobody did anything about it, or nobody protected him, then that to me is Juan's fault. That is where I will place fault with Juan. But the way I'm seeing people acting like Juan did something, that Juan was the one that caused the harassment and the physical harm to this young man, is wild to me, because that, one, means you didn't read, and two, means you really don't care about the victim, and you're not even putting the blame and the onus on the person whose picture is in the article, who is supposed to be coined as the alleged abuser. You're taking all that energy that you should be giving to that person and giving it to Juan and Robin, like they did what they did to this young man. And I don't like that. And I think it's disgusting to see people online throw this in other people's, like, throw this in their faces, like, ooh, what you got to say now? No, like, Robin and Juan are definitely probably embarrassed and ashamed, especially Juan. But this is not a moment where you, like, throw it at somebody. That's just wrong to me. And like I said, I find that to be disgusting and disingenuous for people saying that they're taking up for the victim when you're not. You're just being an asshole and using someone else's pain as a dig to somebody else, which in turn makes you horrible. It makes you horrible. So I'm gonna let it go there, right there. It makes you horrible. So the last thing I would say is we all need to be careful when it comes to sending things out to people that we truly don't know. Because it seems that this young man did not know the person, that he just assumed that this was a woman that he wanted to be in a relationship with, but he really did not know her. And even if you do know someone, you still got to be careful. I will never forget in high school where they would have students that were a part of, like, our advocacy program at school come to everybody's class and talk to them about sexting and how it could mess up your life for the person that's being exposed, as well as the person that does the exposing. And for some reason, that's one thing in high school, that's one of the things from high school that has stuck with me, where I always think before I send things, because it's like, once it's out there, it's out there. And y'all can see in this day and age that people don't care. People will take pictures of other people that they see at the mall or in the store and just they'll post them online for that person to be dragged and ragged on, just so they can get views and engagement. So you can't put anything past anybody these days, whether they're whether you're closely connected to them or not. You just can't. And that goes for everybody, even family members. You can't. So I just would hope that everyone is a lot more being a lot more cognizant and being safe about the way they move online. Because this is unfortunate, because what it seems to me, to me, it looks like it's a catfish that went completely and utterly left into a dangerous and violent place. But again, I hope he gets justice. But those are my thoughts. Remember to be bravely authentic, as well as being safe out there. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.